出发了！这一次的《西游记》，我好多人生的第一次。
Welcome to my universe.
第一次来到世界最佳的餐厅，我真的没有想到能够吃出这么深的感动。最让我感动的就是，竟然有大厨这么的欣赏。
Okay, it's very good. Thank you so much.
我觉得你好像是一个100岁的灵魂。
At the end of the day, being a chef, much like every other profession, it lies primarily about being a good human being.
我也第一次有了跨越文化的深刻的共鸣。
Hello， 我又再一次踏上旅程，寻找在海外闪闪发光的新加坡人。那我现在在巴黎的戴高乐机场，准备搭飞机到哥本哈根。
面向波罗的海的哥本哈根是丹麦的首都及最大城市，它曾获选为全球20大生活素质最佳的城市。在这里，新与旧完美结合。缜密的城市规划更是为人称羡。近年来，哥本哈根更成为全球瞩目的美食之都。这个城市里有15家米其林星级餐馆，单是2024年就为丹麦摘下26颗米其林星。这次的《西游记》的主角就是一位在这里的美食界追寻理想的新加坡人。
根据我的资料搜集呢，这个时间点，我要找的这位新加坡人应该是在遛狗，所以呢，我就来到他家附近的公园，看看我今天运气好不好，能不能够找到他。跟我一起来吧。就是他了，我找到他了。Hi, hi. Oh, hello, Kenneth.
Hey.
Hello, I'm Sharon. Oh
Pleasure.
my
Nice to
God.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. And who is this handsome boy?
That is fun.
Pacho! Oh my God, I'm so glad to have found you.
Yeah, what a small world.
这位36岁的年轻人 Kenneth 冯建明，就是第一位在北欧顶级料理殿堂 Norma 闯出名堂的新加坡人。他在短短的9个月内，凭借超群实力得到丹麦名厨 Rene Redzepi 的青睐和提拔，迅速晋升为 Norma 的首位亚洲裔主厨。那年他不过32岁。
我要代表新加坡人跟你真的就是表达我们的对你的崇拜，因为你真的让我们新加坡在这整个地图上，你把我们的国旗插得很高很远。
真的不会。
买了你这最爱吃的八卦给你。
Kenneth 的父母在摄制队出发前为他准备了份小礼物，而我这次就肩负重大使命，把这份关怀亲手递送到他手中。
哇，谢谢。
很喜欢哦，他开心，这是他喜欢吃的哦，
是肉干来的。
是肉干
对
哎，，
还有黄梨塔，
它看起来好像是手工做的，
应该是姑妈做的。
OK， 你吃看看好不好吃？姑妈在看你吃，现在。等一下，里面还有一样东西
This one。
哦。OK， 有一封信，
对，
但是我怕你现在读了马上流泪，我觉得我们要不要回家？
好，回家就开。
Pancho，let's go。
Come on in, Pancho. Welcome.
哦，谢谢，哇，好，谢谢你哦，打扰了。
Kenneth 和妻子 Nicole 的家距离哥本哈根市中心不到15分钟车程。布置典雅的空间里，体现了他们对美学和生活素质的追求。
Now I think we can read the letter.
That'll be fun. That will be fun. Let's see, a poem. It's funny because I've never known my parents to write poems at all, so.
为 Kenneth 他没有把它朗读出来，所以我就陪着他静静地把它念完。从那首诗，我看到了满满的爱。从他的眼中，我是看得出他是很感动的。Make nation proud too. Yes. God.
That's very nice.
Your parents are so romantic.
Yeah, very eloquent, no?
And very elegantly written. Love you, son.
That's very, very cool.
Mom and dad.
They have never written me a poem before, so very, very cool. All of it is touching to me, but this idea of like them constantly having my back, I think it's always comforting to know. And it's a sentiment that I've always carried with me since I left Singapore, and it's good to know that it's still there.
Kenneth 和料理至深的渊源，其实和小时候的耳濡目染有着很大的关系。
My earliest memory of some childhood was actually cooking with my mom. I remember coming back from like kindergarten, and I would like help just cook and prepare. I probably made more of a mess than anything. I mean, but I also remember weekends, like how me and my dad would spend time is we would actually go to Popular Bookstore in Clementi, and we would look at all the different types of cookbooks, and we pick one, and we would try to cook through one recipe a weekend.
21岁那年，他在父母的支持下，远赴纽约攻读烹饪艺术与管理学位。有将近6年的时间 ，Kenneth 都在美国发展，和父母相聚的时间是少之又少。
How does it feel to be so far away from them?
I think when I was younger, it was more of kind of excitement to see new grounds. And recently I saw them in Kyoto when we were doing our recent pop-up in Japan.
Yeah.
And they came to visit, you know, and then it's the first time I've actually seen my parents as individuals who have kind of aged. So it's definitely getting to a point where I do miss them a lot, and I wish that I could spend more time with them.
7年前，在饮食界已有约10年经验的 Kenneth， 毅然决心让事业归零，远赴哥本哈根重新出发。而让许多人惊讶的是，他竟然放下身段，以实习的方式踏入世界顶级餐厅 Norma 的厨房，由最底层做起。
I just want some fresh ideas. So I picked the hardest restaurant to work in, and I was ready to dive in headfirst, and I fell in love with everything about the environment, and one thing led to another, and you know, 9 months after joining the team, I became the head chef.
This is a feat that many people would think unattainable. 可是你刚才就这么轻轻带过，你是怎么样做到的？
I always wanted to be better, but not better than the colleagues that I was working with, but just better than the person that I was yesterday.
那我今天呢，才刚刚认识 Kenneth， 我们相处的时间也还不是很长，但是我发现他虽然身处在行业的巅峰，可是他的态度依然保持低调而且谦虚。Hello.
Hey Sharon, how's it going?
Thank you for inviting me
Yeah.
to your office.
Norma 不仅仅是家餐厅，更是一场关于自然、季节与匠心的革命。它开创了独特的新北欧料理风格，重新定义了高端餐饮的边界，因此被推崇为新世纪的美食殿堂。
The legendary Norma door.
There are better things inside. Shall we go in? Welcome to my universe. So this is the main dining room, and we sit about like 43 to 48 guests here.
我虽然不是什么美食家，但也对 Norma 在饮食界的崇高地位以及影响力早有所闻。因此，对于今天的 Norma 邀约，我充满着期待。早上9点，忙碌的节奏井然有序地在 Norma 的厨房里启动。
It's like a black and white movie. Everything is just moving almost like quickly in fast motion. You might mistake it for chaos, but it's so organized and it's so choreographed down to every single detail. And for me, that is so beautiful. And that's one of those moments as a head chef, you stand in the kitchen and you're like, whoa, this is cool.
我和 Norma 的初体验即将展开 Kenneth 今天将亲手为我准备 Norma 今年海鲜季的几道经典料理。其实 Kenneth 去年12月已经卸下主厨重任，目前负责管理 Norma 的科研和发酵部门。再度踏入厨房的他，让我看到另一种专注的魅力。
Thank you, chef.
So we start you off here with a serving of a crab broth. So it's made from brown crab. Together with seed milk, so made from pumpkin seeds. So it has the richness of full dairy milk, but without any dairy at all.
Oh.
And then we have placed it back into its shell that we fashioned basically into a flask. So just lift and sip.
好鲜甜，而且就是这个螃蟹的原味非常纯粹。我发现呢，很单纯的拿着这个蟹壳呢，就是一个很全新的体验。
Continue here with a serving of a seaweed salad of sorts. This one here features some of the freshest seaweed that we can find that we pulled from the day itself, together with some horseradish, a little bit of oyster leaves, and we finish it here with a sauce of sweet shrimps and a little bit of seaweed oil.
很香脆，非常新鲜的海洋的味道。
This is a serving of Danish squid. So we've taken the squid itself and it's cured on the very top here with sediments of roasted seaweed. So it imparts all this umami flavors, toasty, nutty tones to it.
我的第一口跟第二、第三，接下来的几口味道都不一样。我不知道它怎么做成这个样子，但是这就是我所听说过的前卫新北欧料理了。
So your final bite of sweet here is a sea star. So it's actually made from a toffee that's flavored here with cardamom and dressed on the outside with the fruit leather before being glazed on the back.
他们用大自然为灵感的创作，它已经不是一道普通的甜品，它是艺术品。
Norma 的料理诉说了对当季在地食材的执着，为我的味蕾带来全新的体验。那层次丰富的酱料仰赖厨师们精心钻研的发酵技艺。据我所知，这更是 Kenneth 目前的工作范围之一。这次的《西游记》应该是我最有口福的一次。
我真的没有想到，一个人在这里吃一顿餐，能够吃出这么深的感动。
Welcome to my universe.
因为新加坡籍厨师 Kenneth 彭建明，我有幸踏入北欧顶级料理殿堂 Norma。
We arrive now at the production kitchen. So this is the heart and kind of soul of everything that happens here in Noma.
这个厨房曾是 Kenneth 每天的战场。在他担任 Norma 主厨期间，餐厅在连续12年夺得米其林2星的殊荣后，于2021年摘下首枚米其林3星，同年第5度荣登世界50最佳餐厅的榜首。担任了4年半的主厨后 ，Kenneth 在去年升任为 Norma 发酵部门的主管，开启了事业的另一篇章。
And this is actually my home. So this is the fermentation lab where we work. We call this a lab, but at the end of the day, we're chefs first, and a lot of what we do comes first and foremost from a background of cooking. So part of it is basically producing the day-to-day ferments of everything that we do in the restaurant.
Kenneth 主理的发酵部门肩负着研究与开发新食材和风味的使命。他们的日常工作需要使用高端科学设备进行各种实验。
Sonicator here that's basically like a giant blender that uses ultrasound waves in itself.
走入 Kenneth 的实验室，反而觉得，他们简直是科学家了，因为呢，他们运用各种各样的科技的新技巧，还有新的器材。
I'll show you some cool stuff in the room.
This is already too cool for me.
Come on in. Anything that's kind of in large format barrels is what we produce for the menu, and everything that's kind of in some of the smaller glasses or things that we're kind of messing around with, playing with, and looking at different kinds of formats of which we can maybe make into things for the future.
因为严峻的冬季气候，丹麦一年大概只有7个月适合耕种食物，因此 Norma 对能够保存食物的发酵技术非常重视。他们不仅通过发酵解决了食材匮乏的问题，更开创了为美味加分的方法。
So this is Piso. Piso is our version of miso. We made it with split yellow peas instead, and that's why we call it peas. Piso.
It tastes better than miso.
Yeah.
美味しいね。
Kenneth 和他的团队利用食物科学原理，结合古老发酵手法，配制出不同口味的酱油和味增，专门提供给 Norma 的厨房使用。Kenneth 鼓励厨师们自由发挥，因为有时某个突发奇想会造就一个全新的口味。
听说这是你酿制的？
对，菜单上有用海参的内脏，但是剩下的外面的部分其实是弃之不用的。我们想说啊，那我们去研究一下它外面到底是由什么组成的。外面大部分都是蛋白质，那我想说啊，那蛋白质可以转化成氨基酸。
好鲜甜哦！
就好像在吃一只浓缩的海参一样。
真的，整个海洋的味道在我的齿颊中真的爆发出来了。这群年轻人正在创造属于自己的理想的世界，不只是好吃那么简单，给予这些大家废弃的食材新的生命。想问一下，你们2位之间的这个合作，他会不会是一个很凶、很严格的老板呢？
没有，其实我们的工作更多是像伙伴一样。在这个环境工作久了之后就习惯了，你知道怎么去分散自己的压力，所以在这个厨房里也很少会看到像传统的厨房一样会有很多骂人啊，会有很凶啊这样的场景。
The environment basically encourages excellence. And when you're surrounded by people that want you to succeed, it is easy to push yourself. And I feel like Noma was the first place that I felt like I truly belonged, rather than just fitting in.
难得周一休息 ，Kenneth 约了他在哥本哈根的莫逆之交一起聚餐。就在厨师们最爱的一家小餐馆里，我见到了这位来自墨西哥的现任 Norma 主厨 Pablo Soto。其实 Kenneth 初来乍到时，也经历过一段艰辛的适应期。那个只懂得埋头苦干的他，若没有 Pablo 主动伸出友谊之手，或许没能那么快融入 Norma 这个大家庭。
One of my first introductions to Pablo and why I knew this guy was going to, be a huge influence on me was like he said hello, he greeted me. And back in the day, you don't do that. I think it's a very hard environment. The attrition rate is so high that, of course, the mentality back in the day is why would I even bother saying hello to you when you may not even be here tomorrow? I was an intern then, he was a chef de partie, But he had no obligation to show me any kindness whatsoever, but he did, and I always remember that. For me, it was important.
当年 Pablo 也和 Kenneth 一样，是由学徒身份进入 Norma， 然后一步一脚印的，经过无数的磨练，才当上了主厨。
And I admire her work. I've been always looking up to people that work hard, and that's something that Kenneth has done as well, while being Hitfield, also allowing me to have a space to be the person that I think I want to be. I saw drastic change at Norma organizationally when Kenneth took over as a head chef. And finally, okay, now we have a system for this. Now we have a system for that.
我觉得呢 ，Pablo 其实跟 Kenneth 有一点是很相似的，他们都不是善于把感情放在脸上的。他们开始是很含蓄的，但是你看他们说着说着，哇，其实就是那种难兄难弟，其实感情是很深厚的。
Kenneth 虽比 Pablo 迟加入 Norma， 却在极短的时间内以卓越表现上位，超越 Pablo 晋升为主厨。但他对这位前辈仍是充满着敬仰之情。
And for me, I learn every day watching Pablo work in the restaurant in terms of the way that he leads with kindness, but still with so much efficiency, and things that I always felt that I struggled with, you know.
Okay, having heard that gush of love and affection and respect, is this the first time you're hearing this from Kenneth?
I've heard some smaller versions of it before, but it's nice. It's nice. It's nice.
Oh, do you
Feels
feel?
good, yeah.
It feels good. Okay then, so what do you love about Kenneth?
He might strike you as a bit of a hard personality, serious, but actually, like he is deeply sensitive, and I think he
He said 3 times deeply.
I always say whenever I see Kenneth talking about his wife, his dog, he always expresses the most love, you know. But you know that there's like a side that is it's a little bit like a flan, you know, very wobbly. Yeah.
A little bit like a fly.
Yeah, that's a good description. Oh, Nicole, do you agree that he's deeply sensitive and he's like a flan?
I agree that it's deeply. I think deep down he cares so much about the things he loves, and he's very passionate, and he's also very has a huge heart.
我总以为名厨的世界里，除了冷酷的竞争外，容不下一丝温情。但 Kenneth 和 Pablo 的友谊，却让我有了全新的视角。
准备好了没有？看
准备好。
我们现在要一起去公园，要怎么去呢？那就是阿舅妈我呢就坐前面啊，然后呢，我希望我的体重不会给 Kenneth 造成太大的压力。我们出发了。
Have you ever ridden in a cargo bike?
No, this is my first time.
So another Copenhagen experience.
Yeah.
Kenneth 彭建明和 Nicole 夫妻俩每逢休息日都会骑车带着爱犬 Pancho 到住家附近的小公园去放空奔跑。
That was such a nice ride.
Yeah,
along
yeah.
the way.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky to live so close. So it's a perfect spot to just spend our weekends off.
Nicole 其实也是一位厨师，而且目前是一家米其林1星级餐厅的主厨。当年同样在纽约烹饪学院就读的 Nicole， 因为实习的关系而认识了 Kenneth。
So Nicole, was it love at first sight?
I don't think so. Yeah. I remember he was like very serious, very focused, and everyone really respected him. So I was like very impressed by him.
Okay, so it wasn't love at first sight, it was respect at first sight.
That's for sure.
And what was your first impression of Nicole?
I thought she was very intelligent and of course very attractive, and she was very focused and driven.
We both really had high aspirations for our future and wanted to focus on that. Those same goals really is what I think brought us together, because we felt like we didn't have to compromise anything.
Right.
And that was very important.
Right. So after New York, you two went back to Singapore together.
Yeah.
How was it like for you?
It was definitely different from my culture, and his family was incredibly welcoming and warming, and they were 100% supportive.
不久后，一家丹麦米其林星级餐厅邀请 Nicole 加入实习行列。这千载难逢的机会，对女性厨师来说是一种肯定。
When it was about time for me to come to Copenhagen, and Kenneth was like, maybe I should just come with you. And I was like, of course, that would be great. And he was like, maybe I should apply to Noma.
Hello? High expectations.
And I remember perfectly, we went on the webpage together and he put in his application. And about 30 minutes after, he got a reply being, we would love to have you.
夫妻俩原本只计划旅居哥本哈根3个月，完成各自的实习生涯后再做打算。没想到 Kenneth 就此爱上这里的生活，决定申请转为 Norma 正职员工。两人就这样决定，把握当下，好好的在这座城市为未来打拼。
Cheers.
在这之前 ，Kenneth 辗转在美国的2家米其林星级餐厅奋斗了约4年时间。
I did have my lowest point in New York, and I was spiraling. It's a hard place to live if you are a 20-something-year-old making minimum wage, 2 hours of sleep a night, and you fail a lot of times. You know, you fail at work, you fail outside of work, you fail in life.
对 Kenneth 来说，生命中的每个驿站都深具意义。他并不拘泥于放到某个阶段的挫折，甚至对于成就也总是轻描淡写。
I tend to not take these things too seriously. If I fail, I fail, and I just move on. Of course, it hurts. You know, it sucks. We always want to win. At the end of the day, it's also like you get to come home to this, to a loving wife and a dog. So, like, what are you complaining about, really?
我们的主角说，今晚要请我吃一顿家常便饭。于是夫妻俩一回家，就聚精会神地开始在厨房里忙碌起来。
Did you taste it? Yeah, that's good. Still crunchy.
我很喜欢 Kenneth 和 Nicole 他们两人之间的互动，我们可以说已经是处于很舒适、很老夫老妻的状态之下，但是他们还是会很有礼貌地征询对方的意见，而且他们很尊重对方的意见。
他们以丹麦当季食材为题，中式和法式料理手法为比，精心准备每一道料理。我对这次视觉和味觉的体验充满期待。
As I get a little bit older, I tend to have a desire to go back to my roots. And a lot of those flavors and profiles that I have in my head are local profiles or Chinese profiles. Hey, buddy. You good?
Good to see you.
Yeah. Come on in.
Kenneth 的同事 Kevin 他今晚也跟我们一起吃饭。我觉得他们的最要好的朋友好像就是 Kevin 了。他们说几乎每一次的聚餐都会有 Kevin 出席。
Enjoy. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Wontons in clear consomme of chicken with a little bit of hazelnut oil to finish, so please enjoy.
This is so delicious. 它的汤底好香好甜，它锦上添花的材料其实就是榛子油，所以难怪我闻起来就已经觉得香味扑鼻。我认得这个枸杞鹌鹑，而且我闻到是不是你用了一些酒来腌鹌鹑？
对，是花雕酒。
啊，花雕酒。
为了满足也是吃货的 Kevin，Kenneth 今晚更是卯足全力，发挥创意，准备了多道精致美食。我们吃得不亦乐乎。来自加拿大的 Kevin 在 Kenneth 还是主厨的时候，就在他的团队里工作。
Do you feel constantly challenged by his mind? Because he's very detailed and yet sometimes he's quiet. So do you ever wonder, like, what is he thinking?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of times I'm wondering what I'm thinking. A lot of times when you work in the fermentation lab or in the test kitchen, you're doing things for the first time because no one's done it before. So we rely on each other a lot for intuition and for inspiration because our job is to be explorers.
This is interesting.
It's very interesting when you have to taste things.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Like this crab that we're going to taste this week.
Tell me about it. What happened?
So Kevin has an idea to basically ferment crabs in the same way that the Koreans or the Chinese have.
其实我有观察到 Kenneth 他聊到工作的时候，他整个人是活了起来的。
We basically spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to figure out how we can tie them while they're trying to clip our fingers off.
They're very angry crab.
People, they walk past the lab and they look in and they just quickly walk back. They're just like, I don't want to be a part of this.
哇！
这个夜晚，餐桌上不断端上精彩菜色。我们更天南地北地从工作聊到美食，以及各种有趣的烹饪手法。
So you've had the drunken quail before, now you have it roasted in a Cantonese style.
哦，对，我忘了你是广东人，难怪你很倾向广东式的烹饪方法。
可是这个其实我是从网上看了一些视频，然后一直试，每个星期都煮一下，终于找到这个方式来煮。
Thank you so much for this wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Yes.
因 为《西游记》，我来到了丹麦的哥本哈根，这里是名副其实的脚车之城，超过一半的居民每天使用脚车上班或上学。本来就热爱骑车的 Kenneth 冯建明来到这里更是如鱼得水。3年前，他更开启了铁人3项的训练。
I wanted to see how my endurance and how my ability to kind of persevere under really tough conditions in the kitchen could translate to a sport like triathlon.
尽管有时餐厅工作时间长达16小时 ，Kenneth 还是坚持着每天的体能锻炼。他发现运动员的锻炼和厨师的训练有着许多相似之处。
All these methods of preparing yourself, whether physically, this idea about periodization in training, what can you do to be that much more skillful? It's the same application in the kitchen. Every day, if you're trying to be 1% better than you are yesterday, in 10 days, that's 10%. That's massive. Can you imagine?
本来今早是要到他骑车的地方为他打气，但一大早我就接到他身体不舒服的简讯，大概是因为这几天气温突然下降而着凉了。我想起他母亲提起过的一道甜汤，好吧，今天就为他准备这个，让他暖暖身子。
耶！我需要的食材都买齐全了，现在我们去 Kenneth 家，我要为他准备甜汤。How are you feeling?
Better, better.
But you know what? You're going to feel way better after I do my magic potion, which I learned from your mother.
Really?
我看到妈妈教我，她说一定要把这个辅助弄碎它。
Whenever there's someone kind enough to cook for me, gratefulness is always the first emotion that comes to play.
好，我觉得可以了。完了，哇哇，已经有家的感觉，有家的味道了。
对对。
How does it taste? Is it very, very different from your mom's style?
No. Pretty similar. Well done. I think it used to be like a Sunday night thing, no? My mom would always make this. And because the weather was always so hot, I refused to eat it like this. I would always put it in the fridge. And then I would eat it like several hours later because it was so much more refreshing and cold. 成功了。
它会不会让你想妈妈、想家人？会吗？真的？
会想家。
好，我有一个惊喜要呈现给你们。1, 2, 3, voila!
Hi everybody. Hey mom, hi dad.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, Shen. Hey.
It's really nice to see everybody together. It's a rare thing for all of us to be online at the same time.
这次难得的墨尔本、新加坡和哥本哈根3地视讯，是 Kenneth 的爸爸精心策划的。远在澳大利亚的2姐一家人，更特别推迟了睡眠时间来赴约。
Do you guys miss Uncle Kenneth and Auntie Nicole?
Yes. That's not.
We miss his food also.
Yeah, we wish we could try to get together more often. Huh?
I think they definitely don't talk enough. I think it was really beautiful to see them gathering together as a family. I think sometimes Kenneth is not the best at reaching out first to his parents, so it's definitely something he has been wanting to work on.
Kenneth 的爸爸之前写给儿子的那首诗里，其实暗含着许多寓意。
I didn't even know you write poetry. I was like, there's no chance you wrote this. You probably ChatGPT'd it, but it was very good.
I think in between you probably will catch some hidden meaning behind,
Yeah.
We kind of a bit of regret there. As I
When they are young, we don't.
Should we spend more time with the kids, But if you turn back the clock, then we probably will spend more time. Yeah.
I feel like we have an unseen connection in that sense. We can get a lot across, not necessarily verbally, just over the course of time that we're speaking, whether it's 3 to 5 minutes, but a lot gets said and not necessarily always in words. So.
Do you kind of miss us,
Yeah, of course we do, yeah. especially now more than ever, you know? After we met you in Kyoto, and then we see that you guys are getting a little bit older, so there's
Yes, definitely.
definitely a desire to be closer to you guys or to see you more than once every like 2 years or something, you know?
尽管时差拉长了实际距离，这分布在地球3大洲的一家人，因为一通视讯，此刻却是如此靠近。
I'm really proud of you, bro. Like everything that you have accomplished. Like my daughter is telling the whole world here that you're famous.
That's funny. I would disagree for sure, but you know, thank you anyway.
But seriously, parents, how does it feel to have your children all over the globe?
It's like a bird you keep in a cage and then you hive, you know. Let the bird fly.
And if they choose to be there, we will always support them.
Yeah, we don't say enough. Thank you, and of course, you know, we love you very
Oh
much.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks.
梦想之所以能够飞得那么高、那么远，除了有赖于更广阔的舞台，其实最大的力量还是父母无私的奉献。而对 Kenneth 来说，更是因为父母对自己的了解和体谅。
Yes, I love you.
Love you too.
在高中时期，爱思考的 Kenneth 总会在课堂上挑战老师的观点。父亲因此常接到学校的反馈，说他耽误了其他同学上课的时间。
My dad was the first to be like, no, he's just inquisitive, which actually made me really appreciate the relationship that I have with my dad, even to this day. He knows that I'm different. I was always trying to find a way to fit in, especially in my junior college days. And this idea of just continually pursuing academic excellence just purely for the sake of it, it didn't make sense to me.
当时老师还认定他心思不定，做事总是半途而废。
And my teachers were constantly saying, you don't stay in something. And which is to kind of go back to this idea of like having the opportunity to fail. It's not common in Singapore.
It's not encouraged.
Exactly. The lessons that you learn are going to propel you far, far further than any of the lessons you learn in winning something.
我觉得你好像是一个100岁的灵魂，你散发出一个很有智慧、很有想法，而且很平稳的这个气质。
I think it's just going through life, living in different places, and gaining perspective for me. If I think back on my entire time working in kitchens, the moments that I remember the most are moments of kindness that people show towards me. At the end of the day, in being a chef, much like every other profession, it's lies primarily about being a good human being. This is my first time jumping on the water taxi. This route actually follows my commute to work. I'm just by the water, so I'll ride all the way up.
你第一次搭这个水上巴士有什么感受吗？
Yeah, it's nice. It's interesting to not have to paddle and to be able to take a look at the sights. So it's actually pretty cool.
西游记这趟来到丹麦的哥本哈根，今天我们还和我们的主角来到一个丹麦人非常爱逛的地方。
这是今年度的第一个农夫市集，可以跟着他们这么悠闲的走一走，真的觉得感受到了那个丹麦的热情。
So it's just lovely to come and just spend the morning, even if we don't buy anything.
我们走到哪里转个圈就会遇到他们的朋友。Hello,
I work with Nicole.
Oh, you work with Nicole.
It has been probably one of the most easy relocations ever. We spend most of our time at work, but we have definitely a group of individuals that surround us that give us so much positivity, so much love. Hello. You good? We used to use Kala's kimchi to make kimchi grilled cheese with her kimchi. It was amazing, yeah, very solid.
He's very nice. You know why nice? Because he knows how to play with all the flavors.
I tried, thank you. Thank you for stroking my ego.
When I go to Singapore, people told me I have to try the crab, the Singapore
Chili crab.
chili crab.
Chili and pepper crab.
I prefer the pepper one, it's better. It's like a dry, raw kind of situation.
你是不是很想念新加坡美食？
当然会啊。
因为我跟你讲，接下来我有一个很劲爆的惊喜。
好，我们等着看。
压力很大，压力很大。 好，来，不要多说了，没时间了。
这几天的相处，让我发现 Kenneth 冯建明对食材、烹饪技巧的讲究，有着一种属于匠人的执着。我也开始担心，我能顺利完成最后一项任务吗？
那我在想，这个是不是粗了一点？没关系，欧金鲜的味道就是比较粗心的哈。
它要咸一点的，那它的口味很重。
要咸一点，因为你儿子是重口味的。好。
直觉告诉我，还是妈妈最懂儿子的心，所以我今天的必胜佳肴就来自 Kenneth 人生中的第一个厨房。
OK Sharon， 看你会不会煮这道了？有没有妈妈的味道？
有哦，颜色是一样，一模模一样样耶。来，我来尝一下味道如何，不然等一下 surprise 的是我。有口感，有咬劲儿，这叫画龙点睛。Oh, wow, perfect timing. Hi, welcome home.
Surprise! It looks good.
哦，请尝，请尝。
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. 我看他 enjoy 那个 food， 我很开心哎。
It's very good.
Oh, thank you. 我想问你，为什么 Julie 特别指定一定要煮这道米苔巴给你呢？
I think it's because she always made this for me when I was little. She was busy, you know, with 3 kids back then. So it was something easy that you could put together, but it was delicious.
And your mom specifically said 我的儿子口味很重的，所以要多加一点什么
You can tell 有那个鱼香的味道。
是。To hear you say that it's fine, it's okay, it means a lot to me.
It's better than okay. It's very good. Thank you so much.
今天我们也为我们的主角送上一段来自新加坡的问候。
It kind of, you know, the biological alarm clock will actually trigger us, urging to call our children. So that's why your mom choose your off day to call you, you know.
而且妈妈最渴望的就是你能够常常打电话回来，我就很高兴。不要每次等到你妈妈打去找你，因为如果你做工的时候偶尔也是很忙。
This is a place where you grow up. Your parents are here. Your relatives are here.
It's funny to see him emotional. He never usually gets emotional.
Even though you are a big boy now, but to me you are still a small boy.
I don't even remember that.
Take very good care of yourself. Okay?
Look at how young my dad was. It's crazy.
And don't overexert yourself. In fact, you do all those triathlon. It really worries me a lot. Well, but you love it, okay. We always give you our support. But just do be very careful and take good care of yourself. Okay, son? Remember,
all right, Mom.
We always have you in our thought.
We love you.
And we love you.
That looks very nice. That's very lovely.
I'm overwhelmed by the parents are so warm.
Yeah, they're lovely.
The parents are so nice.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
And may I ask you, because why do you think that your dad choked with emotions just now?
I think we're the same, you know. We may put up an exterior that is rather firm, rather stoic, but I think we're also emotional individuals. And there are certain points in time where it calls for us to reach deep, and we do, you know. I mean, I feel the same way about my dad, you know. I talk about him like he's, you know, the greatest person ever. You know, I'm here because of what he has done, so I'm forever grateful. And I will do my best to visit as much as I can, you know.
Hello, Kenneth.
Hey.
Hello, I'm Sharon.
Pleasure.
Oh my
Nice to
God.
meet you.
It's a little bit like a flan, you know, very wobbly.
我很尊敬 Kenneth， 他对人处事的真诚，还有他的那种感恩的心，对我来说这是很难得的。
Gratefulness is a big part of my mental routine. It is the first thing I think about and the last thing I think about before I go to bed. It's not lost on me that I have the opportunity to go and work in a place of my choosing, of my passion, and my love. That's not a given for a lot of people. I'm always grateful for that.
我跟 Kenneth 学到了很重要的一堂课，在怨天尤人之前，首先从心里说声谢谢，谢谢眼前所拥有的东西，谢谢身边周围所出现的贵人，谢谢生命给予我们的机会。这是我在这一集的《西游记》最大的一个收获。How much do you love Kenneth?
More than all the fishes in the sea.
请选一个。
选右边。
好。
In 2024, a poll was conducted to find out the dish Singaporeans miss the most when they're living overseas. What do you think are the top 3 dishes? That's easy. Chicken rice, laksa, and probably char kway teow. Okay, let's see.
答案是
chicken rice,
Yay.
laksa.
Yay.
Bak kut teh is the last one, so I missed it. But it's okay. 2 out of 3.
2 out of
Still pretty good.
3.